Today I have three fans: the Holmes oscillating fan, the Dreo pedestal fan, and the Amazon Basics pedestal fan. And I'm gonna compare not just their features and functions, but I'm also gonna show you how fast they move wind using this wind speed meter. I'm gonna show you how much electricity they use with this wattage meter. And I'm gonna show you how loud they are with this sound decibel meter. So let me show you the differences. Firstly, it does come with a remote. It's got the on-off button, the speed mode, the oscillator, and the timer. All of those things are also available on push buttons on the fan, so let's go down there and check them out. The top button here is for on, off, and speed. So if I hit it once, it's gonna set it to speed 1. Again, it's gonna set it to speed 2. Again, it's gonna set it to speed 3, and then the last time, it will turn it back off. Now we'll set it to speed 1 right here. If we want to set a timer, we hit it once, you can see the 0.5 is activated. That means a half hour. If we hit it again, now it's an hour. Again, now it's an hour and a half, then 2 hours, then 2.5 hours, now 3 hours with the 1 and the 2 lit up, now 3.5 hours right there, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 5 hours with the 4 and the 1, 4.5 or 5.5 hours right there, 6 hours with the 4 and the 2, 6.5 hours, 7 hours, 7.5 hour timer. We hit it again and that will turn the timer off. Now we have 3 separate modes. On the first mode here, this is just a general fan mode, so whatever speed you have set it at is the mode it will go at, and that looks like a little fan. If we hit mode, it moves up to a little tree right there. What that does is it kind of picks up wind and then lets it down back and forth, just like a breeze would in the forest. And if we hit it again, it will go into quiet mode for us. Hit it again and it goes back into normal fan mode. Here's the oscillating button. You hit it to make it oscillate. You hit it again to make it stop. On the back of the fan right here, we have a little wheel. If we loosen that up, we can change the height of the fan, tighten it up to hold the height that we want it at. And we do have some control over the tilt. Right here, it's tilted forward. We can tilt up 1, 2, 3 times, and now it's tilted upwards. All right, so let's get started with the wind speed, the sound of it, and how much electricity it uses. At its lowest setting, the Amazon Basics fan uses about 45 to 46 watts. At its highest setting, the Amazon Basics fan uses about 63 to 64 watts. Measured about 2 feet away at its lowest setting, the Amazon Basics fan moves air at about 3.0 to 3.1 meters per second. Measured at its highest setting, the Amazon Basics fan moves air at roughly 4.5 meters per second. At its lowest setting, the Amazon Basics fan is just under 49 decibels. At its highest level, the Amazon Basics fan is around 60 decibels. So a pretty solid fan. I like that it comes with a remote. I really like that forest wind setting on it too, how it varies the wind back and forth. Other people might really appreciate that, especially if they're trying to fall asleep and they like that kind of variable speed, kind of drifting them off to sleep. But definitely pushes a lot of air and doesn't get too loud, so a pretty solid fan. Just to start off with, it's a very nice looking fan, very cool design, and I like the colors on it as well. With a full vertical tilt available. It's got a beautiful modern aesthetic, but I love the addition of that wood grain there as well. You can use this fan with or without this remote. All these buttons right here you can find on the fan as well on a little touch panel on the front. And here's those controls right here with an LCD panel right here. So let's hit the power button and you can see that it powers on, and it's powered on currently at speed level 6. And if we come down to the second button right here, that's how we can change the speed on it. We can go up to level 8. If I hit it again, it'll go down to level 1, and we can cycle through the fan speeds like that. The third button right here will determine if you want to use the fan in auto mode, in turbo mode, or in normal mode. If it's in normal mode, it's just gonna spin at whatever speed you have it at. So if I set it at 6, it's gonna spin at 6. However, if I switch it into auto mode, it will change its speed. If the temperature in the room goes up, then the speed of the fan will go up. If the temperature in the room goes down, then the speed of the fan will go down. I can also put it in turbo mode. That puts it in high mode, its maximum speed. The fourth button here lets us set timers. We can set an hour timer, or we can change that all the way up to an 8-hour timer. We can set it back to 0 by hitting it again. If we want the fan to be silent, we hit that quiet button right there and we'll go into quiet mode. And quiet mode just means that when you're hitting these buttons right here, they don't make a sound. Watch. You can see the numbers are changing, but that sound isn't coming anymore. If I turn it off of quiet mode, you can hear it now making sounds again. If I come down to this last button right here and I hit it once, you can see that it's set at 0. That means there will be no swivel on the fan. If I set it to level 1 swivel, it will have a 30-degree swivel. Level 2 is 60-degree swivel. Level 3 is a 90-degree swivel. And level 4 is a 120-degree swivel. Okay, now we're gonna go through our 3 tests, starting with the wattage meter test. At its lowest setting, the Dreo fan is using 2 watts of energy. In its highest setting, turbo mode, the Dreo fan is using over 19 watts of energy. At its lowest setting, the Dreo fan is moving wind at about 1.6 meters per second, measured at 2 feet away. At its turbo setting, the Dreo fan is pushing wind at about 3.8 meters per second, 3.9 at its maximum there. At its lowest setting, the Dreo fan is registering low on this, meaning it's below its reading, or at most around 30 decibels. And you can see its decibels has almost tripled to about 90 decibels. What I like about the Holmes oscillating fan is that it's very simple. We have 4 buttons on the front here, 0 for off, 1, 2, and 3 for the different speeds. On the back here, we have the oscillating button. You just push down to let it oscillate, pull up 2 clicks, and then it will stop oscillating and it will stay in place. And then we have a height mechanism right here. You can go up and down with it, just like that. And so in today's video, I'm also gonna show you its wind speed using this anemometer. I'm gonna show you how loud it is using this sound decibel meter. And I'm also gonna show you how much electricity it uses using a wattage meter. At its lowest setting, the Holmes fan uses 55.8 watts. At its highest setting, the Holmes fan uses roughly 70 watts. At its lowest setting, measured about 2 feet away, the Holmes fan pushes about 2.8 meters per second of air. At its highest setting, the Holmes fan moves about 3.8 meters per second of air. And at its lowest setting, the Holmes fan registers about 45 decibels. At its highest setting, the Holmes fan registers roughly 55 decibels. So this is a great value fan if you're looking for something that has a really wide spread of air, moves a lot of air, doesn't have to be too quiet, and it can also be simple, like you don't need a remote and you don't mind the push buttons. Overall, a great sturdy fan though. So I think they all win in their own way. The Holmes fan is gonna be the best value that you're gonna get. The Amazon Basics fan gives you a little bit of the in-between with value, but it also has the features like the remote, for example. But out of the Dreo fan, I think it's the overall winner. It pushes air the furthest, but if you set it down and make it nice and quiet, it's the quietest. And if you're talking just pure energy consumption, its DC motor ensures that it uses the least energy as well. So it really just depends on your needs and your budget.